It is 1917 in the Middle East, at the heart of the Ottoman Empire. Early in the morning, a ghostly figure lies in ambush with his men. The desert wind and sand swirl around their desert attire as they wait silently. Quietly, they listen to the sounds of the desert, and in the distance, they hear a wail. The iron beast, a train, powers across the desert, drawing closer. The men prepare themselves as the train thunders nearer, and the trap is sprung when a mine is triggered. The Turkish train is derailed, resulting in a massive eruption of sand and steam, intensified by the desert wind. The waiting warriors leap up and shout as they rush through the dust to raid the fallen train. Through the swirling dust, 2 points of light emerge, slowly revealing the man who masterminded the attack. This man has helped to lead them in their fight for freedom, liberating them from 400 years of Turkish rule as part of the Ottoman Empire. The Arabs joyfully shout his name as the wind dances around his white robes. Al-Orans, Al-Orans, Al-Orans. This man is none other than Lawrence of Arabia, a young British man who was an archaeologist, a spy, and now a freedom fighter, standing only 5 feet 6 inches tall. Yet he was a giant in the eyes of the Arabs. However, Lawrence is a troubled man. The Turkish Ottoman Empire had allied itself with Germany, making an Arab uprising in the Middle East against the Turks very much in Britain's interest. The Arabs promised to fight in return for independence. But the great game does not have simple rules. Britain never expected Arab success and readily agreed to the terms, even promoting them by spreading leaflets promising Arab independence if they rose up. However, Britain's promises had already been broken. They had agreed with France to divide the Middle East between themselves after the war. The French considered Syria practically French territory since the Crusades. Much to everyone's surprise, with Lawrence's help, the Arabs had turned the tide against the Turks. How much Lawrence knew about Britain's broken promises is debatable, but he did know something. He later wrote in his book, 7 Pillars of Wisdom, "I had to join the conspiracy and assure the men of their reward. Better we win and break our word than lose." Lawrence loved the Arab world and immersed himself in Arabic culture. A talented linguist, he could speak Arabic fluently and formed strong relationships with the men he fought alongside. Caught between his loyalties to the Arabs and to Britain, he devised a plan. If he could achieve significant gains and capture Damascus, perhaps Britain would have to keep its promise. Damascus was the political center of the Arab world, but to get there, the coastal city of Aqaba had to be taken. Lawrence devised a plan to fight alongside the men of his friend, Prince Faisal. His commanding officer had told Lawrence that the move to Aqaba on the part of Faisal was not desirable at present, but Lawrence was not to be deterred. He called the campaign for Aqaba a private venture, void of British support. Although his account of that was not entirely truthful, given the eventual help of the British Navy in the endeavor. His plan was daring, and he aimed to complete a seemingly impossible task, crossing his troops across 600 miles of desert, an act that would completely surprise the Turks. In July 1917, the battle began. In the midst of the attack, Lawrence nearly died after accidentally shooting his own camel in the heat of battle. With the Turks not expecting a surprise attack from the land and the Royal Navy shelling from the sea, Aqaba fell, with the Arab forces losing only 2 men. It was a great victory. Now the road to Damascus was clear. He was determined to take the prize of Damascus for his Arab friends. A series of victories followed as Arab forces, combined with the British and their allies, destroyed the Turks' rear guard. The Australian Mounted Division were the first to reach Damascus, but were instructed to let the Arabs enter. On October 1, 1918, Lawrence and the Arab leaders drove into Damascus. The Guardian wrote, "Lawrence leads Arabs into Damascus." They all thought this was the moment of their liberation. 400 years of oppression were now to be replaced with freedom and independence. but the celebrations were short-lived. On October 3rd, Faisal was told in no uncertain terms that there would be no independence. Prince Faisal's forces stayed in the city. In March 1920, Prince Faisal proclaimed himself King of Syria. The French attacked the following July, and Faisal was expelled from Syria at the point of a French bayonet. Lawrence was promoted to the rank of colonel, but his dream of a truly independent Arabia was never realized, and he left the Middle East with grief and frustrations. Lawrence became extremely famous after the war. In 1926, he published his autobiography, 7 Pillars of Wisdom. However, he both loved and abhorred the limelight. Seeking anonymity, he assumed a pseudonym and lived in Clouds Hill in Dorset. He was troubled by his part in Britain's broken promises and sought solace in speed, owning several motorbikes. On May 13, 1935, he left Clouds Hill on his Bruce Superior SS 100 motorbike, about which he wrote, "When roaring its utmost, it surpasses the 100. A skittish motorbike with a touch of blood in it is better than all the riding animals on earth." He was riding in a country lane when 2 boys suddenly appeared on bicycles. He swerved to avoid them, but lost control and crashed. He passed away 6 days later. We visited Lawrence's house at Clouds Hill in southern England. Lawrence's legend lives on. To this day, people visit Clouds Hill and this memorial near the site of his accident to pay homage to Lawrence of Arabia.